it's Jennifer. Today is May 21st, it's a Monday, and today I'm going to talk about some of my novelty tomatoes. So these are some of the dark colored striped, whatever, specialty tomatoes that are available now. So this first one is the Wagner's blue-green tomato. I have no idea when these tomatoes are ripe, but they are purple in color now with green bottoms. I've read on the internet that the bottoms will not turn red, so I don't know what to expect from these. And then I've heard different accounts of the size of these tomatoes, from salad size to 3-inch wide tomatoes. So far these tomatoes are still rock hard, so I'm going to assume they're not ripe yet. I guess I'm just going to go by touch, and when they start feeling a little soft and when they pull away easily from their stems, perhaps then will be a good sign they're done. Of course, tasting them will let me know, because if they're sour and gross like battery acid, then yeah, they're not ripe. So far this plant has been small and compact. It is very thin. It has lots of branches, lots of flowers. So when this first started flowering, there were flowers all over the place and no fruit. It took a long time, maybe about a month, before fruit started showing up after the flowers. So a lot of the flowers just dropped that first time. It seems to do very well in the cage, and so far the problems it's giving me have just been powdery mildew, but all of my plants have powdery mildew to some extent, so it just could be my yard, my soil, anyhow. But it sounds like, in comparison to what people are saying in the forums, that this is a perfectly healthy looking plant. Okay, this one here is the Dark Galaxy. It's been flowering all over the place. I'm not sure what this plant's supposed to look like, but it's got some weird leaf curl, so I don't know if that's normal for this plant or not, but I'll just note that. The leaves also have iridescent sheen on the edge. I like that. It's very pretty. It has flowers all over the place, but it was even more stubborn in fruiting, so I just started noticing fruit a few days ago, and so far this is what they look like, little guys. So I'm happy to see some fruit finally stick on this plant. I think these are ripe when you see the red on the bottom of these. So it looks like, from pictures I've seen on the internet, there's a lot of variation in color, and a lot of it depends on how much sun the tomatoes actually see. So the more sun that they see on their skin, the darker they get. Otherwise they're like red and stripy and mottled. So it looks like there's a lot of little tomatoes on here now. We'll see how that goes. I've been toothbrushing this little guy vigorously to try to get some tomatoes, so it looks like it worked. Again, it's a very small, compact plant. It has several vines coming off of it, and each vine is very thin and skinny. I don't know how to describe this. It's not like there are suckers all over the place. It's just that it vined like that. And it continues to kind of just vine off like that as the plant gets taller. So far it likes being in a cage. It's fine. It's had powdery mildew issues like everything else in my yard, but I think, again, that's just my yard. And I have no idea whether this plant is healthy or not, like I said, with the leaf curl, but it seems to be producing fruit, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, next is the Black Beauty, and this one too has been flowering a lot but not producing much fruit. It just started producing fruit this week. So far the fruits are small, so from what I've seen on the internet, the fruit should get about 3 inches. So these are nowhere near that. But again, they just started showing up last week. They're starting out black. These are ripe when you see red on the bottom. The plant has been very slow growing. I'm a little concerned because it looks like going up the main branch here, the main stalk. The stalks forking off of it are thicker than the main stem. It's got powdery mildew problems. I'm trying to get a handle on that. So far, it's been tough. But I like that it has this nice black stem, black fruits. And I don't think this plant is as healthy as it should be. It sounds to me from the other descriptions that this plant is usually very vigorous, and it has thick stems, thick vines. This one's kind of anemic, I'd say, but it's got flowers all over it. But the earlier flowers all drop, so this is like maybe the third attempt for it to fruit, and it's finally fruiting. And that's about it on this one. So maybe in a month or so I'll have some fruit to taste test. It sounds like the fruit is very good. Okay, this one is the green zebra, and so far it too is having trouble with the powdery mildew. I'm just trying to get this plant to some mature tomatoes so I can taste them before I pull it and replace it with something else. So it's got one tomato on there. Doesn't look particularly special or anything. And the little tomatoes up here don't look particularly special either. So maybe this is I don't know, not the strongest zebra showing hybrid, but there it is. Again, it's a small plant. It's fine in this cage. Looks like it's not going to get much taller than maybe this. I don't know. I don't have much information on this to know if this is a healthy plant or not. But, you know, it's got a few tomatoes on it, so I'm pleased with that. This is my other green zebra, and its fruits have more pronounced striping. This plant has had a heck of a time with the powdery mildew. It seems to be a lot more vigorous than the other plant, but that could be that because it's in a bed that basically goes to ground rather than in a container like the other tomato. So far, you know, it's been growing all over the place. It has lots of suckers on it. Looks like I need to do something about this over here because that's going to pull the plant over because it didn't stay in the cage. And mostly it's just been batting down the powdery mildew on this and then keeping it watered. So so far it's got quite a few tomatoes on it. It looks like some more coming, and it's branching off vigorously, so maybe the next time if I plant this one in ground, I'll give it a bigger tomato cage than this 42-inch one, or put it up in the poles and the cross ties type of support if it's going to be this vigorous inside of a bed. And lastly, here's my white Tomasol plant. So these are supposed to be white tomatoes. They're supposed to actually taste pretty good. I have no expectation of the other tomatoes like the dark galaxy, the blue-green, or any of those other hybrided dark tomatoes. In fact, I expect them to taste kind of sour, but we'll see. But this white Tomasol is very vigorous. It has huge vines. They're very girthy. Lots of tomatoes on here. It's actually been pretty resistant to the powdery mildew, so That's a plus going for it. And I guess we'll see how it tastes. But so far, I think I probably should use the poles and the cross members type staking for it, since it's pretty much filled up this tomato cage. So this is the Blueberries tomato plant. So this is a cherry type. This is probably the best looking cherry tomato plant growing in my yard. It was small for a very long time, like just a little bitty guy. And then about 2 weeks ago it woke up and started growing very quickly. So it's bushy, it's got lots of side shoot suckers, excuse me. And it's looking pretty good. It's got a set of flowers here. So we'll see how that does. Anyhow, I was concerned that it wouldn't grow well over here because up until the plant gets a certain height, it stays in the shade most day. It looks like it finally hit the height where it gets sun most of the day. So perhaps that's why it suddenly took off growing. But it's a very pretty plant. It's very pleasing for me to look at. I like it when tomato plants look this way, that they're kind of, bushy and full. Anyhow, this is the Blueberries plant. And this little guy is a garden peach, and it's supposed to be a yellow tomato that has little peach fuzzies on it. This one is newly transplanted, but so far it's taken well to its container and is actually growing pretty quickly. So it's put on probably an inch or so since I've put it in its container 2 or 3 days ago. So looking good. I guess the weather's right for it. And I guess sometime in late summer we'll have some tomatoes to taste test. So this is the garden peach. So that wraps it up for my novelty tomatoes. Next time I'll go over my dwarf tomatoes. I'm growing quite a few of those. I grew some a couple of years ago, and this year I added some new varieties to see how those are. So far they're looking pretty good.